little dancing. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, thank you. Did you all have a good time out in the Napa Valley last night? Yeah, got some good food. Well, welcome back. Second day, big day of Worlds of Flavor. So excited to have you back. I'm glad we didn't lose you to the wineries and all the other attractions in the valley. Thank you so much to our chefs who prepared breakfast, and especially the National Mango Board who sponsored breakfast. A reminder, I know everybody's always asking about the recipes, a reminder that the recipes for all of the sessions are in the app attached to the session, but you're also going to be getting the recipes for the receptions and the breaks and all the food that you're tasting there after the conference, and those will be emailed to you electronically also. So don't worry, you're going to get all the recipes, all the recipes. If you have a question about the recipes, you're going to get them. Don't worry. So I am so excited for this next session because when we talk about cities, we often think about the coasts, we often think about international cities, we often think about cities with major airports and lots of people, large population counts, but especially in the pandemic and even right before the pandemic, I think we were seeing a lot of movement back to some of the smaller cities due to cost of living, due to change of pace, due to wanting a different lifestyle, and we've had tons of chefs going back to the communities that they came from and really reinvigorating the culinary scenes in those places. So today's next session is actually a focus on one of those areas, although we are going way, way back with history, not to spoil Sarah's presentation, but we're getting a little bit of a history lesson, but I promise it's gonna be interesting, so stay tuned for that. So this next session is called The German Volga Mennonites and Other Immigrant Influences of Wichita and Kansas. And we have John Michael, who is the Director of Culinary and Hospitality for the National Institute for Culinary and Hospitality Education. And you'll see on this slide that Lexi was supposed to be joining John, but unfortunately she had a family emergency, so she wasn't able to join us today. But John's very capable colleague, Sarah, is here to help him out also, and she has been teaching for the past 8 years, and she and John have worked together. I asked her for the exact number, but I think basically forever is what encapsulates it. So please help me welcome John and Sarah.
Marcus, how's everybody doing? Fantastic. How many people know German? All right. How many people know Low German?
Oh, not
No,
too many.
all right. Good morgus is Low German for good morning. So there's your little language lesson for today. But what we're actually going to be talking about are the Mennonites. And I was lucky enough to be raised Mennonite, which is why I'm here today. One of the reasons why I'm here today, because I can talk a little bit about Mennonite history and the heritage. So we've got some pretty great history. Oh, I guess I have information here too. So who are the Mennonites? Mennonites are followers of Menno Simmons. He was one of the influential Anabaptist leaders in the late 16th century in Northern Europe. Basically, when I explain Mennonite religion, we are the hippies of Christianity. We like to make love, not war. So we are pacifists. Because we're pacifists, we refuse to fight in war, which didn't really sit well with the church-controlled government. So we were persecuted, and we fled to near Danzig, and we lived there, prospered there for about 200 years.
In Prussia.
In Prussia,
Modern
right.
day Ukraine.
Thank you. We prospered there for about 200 years. We came up with some great farming practices, worked some of the lowlands in areas that flooded quite a bit. But 200 years, it was time to move on because we were being persecuted again. Hunted and killed and, good times. So we fled again. By this time, we had grown quite a reputation for our farming skills. So Catherine the Great invited us to go to Russia, near the Volga River. There, we continued to farm, and it was in Russia where we started farming turkey red wheat. Turkey red wheat is great for baking. It has high protein. You want to talk a little bit about turkey red? You know some details about it?
Nah.
No.
Nah,
No.
you're
All
good.
right. Well, so from Russia, after Catherine the Great died, things didn't sit so well with the new Russian government anymore. But luckily, in the New World, railways were trying to recruit people to move and populate the areas around the railways so that they could, there we go, sorry, forget about PowerPoint sometimes, so that they could, raise their income by transporting goods such as wheat. And so when we came to America, my ancestors came in 1870. We came, family lore says that we filled all of our pots and trunks and all sorts of stuff with turkey red wheat, smuggled it in, and we planted our first crop near Gossel, Kansas in 1874. That was a pretty big deal for us. Oh, there's our turkey red. Mennonites today, some of you may think that you could spot a Mennonite a mile away. A lot of people get us confused with the Amish. There are some Mennonites that are similar to Amish, but we can basically break the Mennonites into 3 different denominations. We have ones that are very close to the Mennonites, Old World, or Mennonites Amish. They're the Old World. They live in a very secluded, secular environment. And then we have the conservative Mennonites. You can also spot these Mennonites. The men wear denim and flannel, and the women wear dresses and tennis shoes and head coverings. And then there are the conference Mennonites, which is where I come from, if you will. And conference Mennonites, you wouldn't know a conference Mennonite if they hit you on the head. But we're pacifists, so we're not going to hit you on the head. Our food, oh, it's so good. John Michael is going to be preparing bieroks. Bieroks are one of my favorites. Church camp, we would have bierok eating contests, and I would kick all the boys' butts. Good times. You want to talk about where bieroks come from? I just know that they come from my mom's oven, so.
Yeah, so bieroks really come from the actual relatively very short period of time that the what we call the Volga Germans were in Russia. So it's the Volga region of Russia, so it's just to the north of the Black Sea. And at this point, the Turks still had a very large cultural influence in that area. At least the name derivation of bierok is supposed to come from Turkish, and forgive my Turkish pronunciation, but something like borek. It's B-O-R-E-K, which, looking at different pictures of different Turkish borek, they're basically almost anything which is encased in some kind of a pastry or dough. It's pretty vague, but that's pretty much where they got that from. And then, as Sarah said, in 1870, there was a conscription act in Russia, so the Volga Germans that were mostly Mennonite, but not all Mennonites, came to Kansas. And it really is kind of like the unofficial state dish of Kansas. Like, everybody makes bieroks, everybody has bieroks. If you have a bieroks festival, then you're going to get like thousands of people showing up.
It's true. I saw a Quick Trip guy here. Yes, I tell you what, they'll sell. I'd be picking up bieroks every day. Bieroks traditionally, at least for Mennonites, it's basically a pastry that's filled with beef, cabbage, and onions, and yeah, they're to die for. Then we have Varenica. Varenica comes from pierogies originally.
Yeah, we actually had a Ukrainian CIA student here and asked what I was making because he saw this and he recognized like pierogies, and I told him Varenica, and he said, oh, you mean Veroniki? because they really have that origin, and that is really one of the things which has really changed like the least, and one of the things that real Mennonites consider to be really authentically Mennonite food.
Mm-hmm. Traditionally, we will cover Veronica with either a syrup or a rich ham gravy, or a schmontfat. Schmontfat is a thick, creamy gravy, and it's a staple in Mennonites' diets. It's basically a vegetable. We have to eat it every single day.
From a chef's perspective, it's basically bechamel. I mean, it really. If you look at a recipe, it is. It's roux and milk or cream. So.
Mm-hmm. And let's see here, rokuchen. Oh, rokuchen is a fried pastry, and it's typically served with an icing sugar or honey or syrup, jam. However, John Michael has had it savory. Which I was like, what? You have? It's interesting. But what's fun is a lot of Mennonites will do their own little variation with rokuchen, or with a lot of these foods.
My wife's family, who unfortunately wasn't able to make it, her family, they always had it with ham and watermelon. And I just like to cut it in half and make little ham and watermelon sandwiches, but that was just super yummy.
Watermelon always goes with it. Perfect on a hot summer day. Borscht. Originally, borscht was beet soup. When the Mennonites adapted it, they switched to cabbage, although sometimes they would still use beets. But any leafy green would do, including leafy weeds from the garden, because Mennonites don't waste anything. Zwieback is another Mennonite staple. Zwieback is it's a dinner roll, a little bit saltier, a little bit softer, and a lot more rich because it's made with lard instead of butter.
Now, these are hardy working folks. Almost all of their recipes, every dough that they use, the Veronica dough, the beer rocks dough, they're all enriched doughs. They all have lard, butter, oil, milk, cream, eggs. Makes them actually very pliable and easy to work with, too.
Yeah. Finally, we are German, so we love our Wurst. We have a saying, Melissa, everybody saw Melissa's demonstration yesterday. She shared a fantastic story that from Honduras that kind of made me tear up. We have a little saying about sausage. Everything comes to an end, except for sausage, which has two ends.
And the retort to that is, except for mine, I bit the end off my sausage. Okay. We got 6 minutes, so.
Okay. You may have noticed that we like a lot of fatty foods, so we were all very proud of our weight. It meant we were healthy. But something that we really wanted to talk about was Kernza, and once again, Mennonites are leading the way. With the Land Institute is a nonprofit out of Kansas that researches all sorts of goodies. And since the 1980s, they have been developing a perennial grain, because most grains are actually annual. With the perennial, our roots grow deeper. They can get up to 10 feet long, less damage to the earth. It stores carbon. It's great stuff. We're working with Sustainagrain to help promote market awareness of this. It is a product that is still being researched and developed, but it is already on the shelves. Patagonia is actually making a beer with it. You can buy it almost anywhere in California at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. Okay. This is John Michael's daughter. She's enjoying a Kernza Bierock.
Yeah, so we do try to work with the Kernza in our recipes as much as possible. It is really cool, sustainable grain. It helps with nitrogen runoff. It creates a really diverse ecosystem. It isn't wheat, so it doesn't have gluten. So we're currently experimenting with different amounts. We made if anyone's familiar with the English pastry, millionaire shortbread. We've done those with up to a 50-50 with the kernza and wheat, and had that come out very well. It's got a really cool flavor to it. I kind of call it the pre-spiced grain, because when you toast it, it just has this lovely warm spice kind of aromatic to it. It's almost like you would swear there was like some cinnamon or nutmeg or allspice or something like that in there. And these are not traditional size beer rucks. These are very small. These are our little petit bourgeois beer rucks. We also call them our BS beer rucks. BS, of course, stands for bite size. And we do a little bit of a bougie kind of version of them. So we have the main ingredients: the beef, the cabbage, the onions. We bind it together with a little bit of demi. Have some caraway seeds in there. Sometimes I'll have tarragon. We've done these with tenderloin. I've made them into kind of like beef Wellingtons, little beef Wellington beer rucks. And then just kind of top them with like mustard seeds, Maldon salt, caraway seeds. It's really open to all kinds of interpretation. And through the magic of TV, voila. They cook really quickly. Actually, those little ones do go really fast. Like, we're talking about probably 10 to 12 minutes at 450. So we make these little, kind of like hors d'oeuvre size, which is what we'll be selling at the marketplace for lunch. And then we'll also be doing the Varenica as well. And we'll have samples of the kernza flour and the whole kernza, if you guys want to check that out as well, at all of the sessions. And then this plate will be sitting outside. And then a little bit of our, I don't know how to pronounce this, Plattdeutsch mustard.
Plattdeutsch.
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 Yeah, it is. It's quite different to German. It's whole kind of separate thing. So, yeah, we'll be doing the workshop after this one. Going to be making some more beer rucks. Going to be making some breakfast beer rucks at that, and also going to be making the Varenica. And then at lunch today, we'll have the Varenica. So feel free to stop by and chat or ask any questions that you have about our cool Kansas Mennonite cuisine.
I do have a question just to start. Can you tell us a little bit more about the dough or what went into the dough for the beer rucks to encase them?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I gave these to Chef Tony yesterday, and her first comment was how similar they were to dim sum. And the dough is almost identical to what you would use for like for pork buns, particularly like a baked pork bun. It is an enriched dough, so it's AP flour. I did use some of the kernza flour in there as well. Is it like a half-half mix, or what's the mix? No, this one, because this is a yeast-risen dough, you can only go about 5-10%, because you do need to be able to like proof and stretch and things properly. But then milk, quite a lot of sugar, eggs, butter. If you have leftovers, we'll just cook them off for rolls, and it makes just a really lovely, enriched dough. So.
It is better with lard. I do encourage everybody to check out kernza.org, find out some more about kernza. Incredible fiber content, higher protein than traditional wheat. It's really great stuff, and it really could save agriculture as we know it. So.
Yeah.
And we are out of time, unfortunately, but thank you so much to John and Sarah for that.
Thank you.
I love hearing the history lesson, but then also how they're making this really historical, some traditional food, bougie, as John says. And I feel like just from having spent some time with John and Sarah that my sense of the Mennonites is that they've got a great sense of humor. So talk to the Mennonites for their jokes. We're going to somewhere very different now, actually, from the flyover state of Kansas to Peru. So traditionally at Worlds of Flavor, we've got chefs coming in from all around the world, which is one of the things that makes Worlds of Flavor so great. Because of the pandemic, obviously, we've got more restrictions on that, but through the glory of technology and the fact that we have all become Zoom experts in the past year and a half, we get to visit chefs where they are now. So for our next session, we are going to we're doing a market visit in Peru, and we're going to be joining Paola Miglio, who is a journalist who specializes in gastronomy, travel, and culture. She's also the chair of the Latin America North Region World's 50 Best Committee. And first, we're gonna see this video of her giving us an insider's tour of a market in Peru.
Hola, estamos en el mercado de Magdalena de productores. Mi nombre es Paola Miglio, soy periodista gastronómica y hemos venido a hacer un recorrido y a presentarles lo que nace como una iniciativa del gran mercado de mixtura que luego va mutando y ahora por pandemia se ha adaptado y se ha instalado en esta antigua casona. Se llama el Pericultorio Pérez Aníbal y se han organizado bastante bien por pandemia y acá lo particular es que llegan productores de todo el país a ofrecer por 3 días a la semana, viernes, sábados y domingos, sus productos directamente de la chacra o cosas que han elaborado artesanalmente. Entonces nada, los invito al recorrido y quédense con nosotros. Señora Flor Dueña viene desde Caraz, Ancash, que está al norte de Lima, y produce tarwi, que es uno de los cereales más importantes que tenemos, con el que se puede comer en guiso, que se puede comer en harina, que se puede comer como ceviche también, pero además tiene acá cuchuro, que es una bacteria, son como bolitas redonditas, que se recolectan en los ríos, ahí pueden ver la foto, y además se les llama algas, que tienen bastantes propiedades beneficiosas nutricionales. Y están también los aguaymantos y maíces de varios tipos, ¿no? Tiene chulpi, y el de abajo, ¿cuál es?
Colorado.
El colorado. ¿Y para qué sirve el colorado?
Para cancha.
El chulpi también para cancha, ¿no? Y los frijolitos son
También para segundo.
ya. Y bueno, además tiene verduras y hierbas que llegan todas las semanas. ¿Este qué es?
Rocotito. Caigua.
¿Caigua?
Caigua serrana.
Ah, esta es la caigua serrana, que es mucho más chiquita que la caigua grande.
Precio no.
¿Y para qué? ¿Para ensalada?
Para ensalada, para segundo.
Para ensalada y para segundo. Y este es el rocoto, que es el rocoto serrano, que es más chiquitito que con el que se preparan otros platos tradicionales, pero es bastante rico y bastante aromático. Esto de abajo,
Arracacha.
arracacha.
Sí, multivitamina. El calcio tiene.
Y esto es arracacha. Como les contaba, en la feria se reúnen 21 regiones de todo el Perú con sus productos y no solamente les permite la posibilidad de exhibirlos y traerlos a Lima y venderlos a un público distinto, sino que además algunos hacen procesados pero artesanales con los productos originales. Este es el caso de sumac chips, de papas nativas de Cusco, Lares. Cuando estuvimos en Lares tuvimos la oportunidad de conocer a tu papá, el señor Julio Anco, conservacionista y el dueño de uno de los bancos genéticos más importantes de papa que tenemos ahorita, ¿no es cierto?
Así es.
¿Cuántas semillas tiene tu papá?
Bueno, primeramente mi nombre es Hernán Comelo, soy departamento de Cusco, provincia de Calca, comunidad campesina Pampa Corral. Bueno, nosotros trabajamos junto con mi papá Julio Hanko Mamani. Mi papá desde sus ancestros conservó, digamos, heredó los 90 variedades. Hoy por hoy, digamos, trabajamos 450 variedades de papa nativa.
Ya.
Muy aparte que lo que es Mashua tenemos 30 variedades y la oca tenemos unos 15 variedades muy aparte que la papa nativa.
Y con eso ustedes han desarrollado los productos que son estas papas
Sí,
nativas de colores que se llaman sumac chips, ¿no es cierto?
sí, la Sumac Chips nació, digamos, de un emprendimiento de familiar
Ajá.
y de las cuales, digamos, trabajamos con estas variedades. Son 3 variedades o 4 variedades que utilizamos para los snacks de Sumac Chips.
Perfecto. Y para que más o menos conozcan un poquito, estas son las mashuas, si no me equivoco, ¿no es cierto?
Sí, esas son las variedades de Mashua.
Ya.
La Mashua negra, amarilla, la chasca y las otras, el moro Mashua.
Ajá.
Hay como 6, 7 variedades de Mashua.
¿Y oca tienes ahorita?
Oca es
La rojita, ¿no?
Sí,
Ay,
oca
nunca
morada.
había visto oca morada.
Sí, esa es oca morada.
Listo. El tokosh de papa walash, que es una de las variedades de papa que tenemos, pero el tokosh es la papa deshidratada y tiene bastantes propiedades. Y tenemos a la señora Nancy, que es la que nos va a explicar de dónde viene este tipo de tokosh y cómo se utiliza, porque es bastante particular y bastante reconocido acá en todos los años. A ver, cuéntame.
Buenos días, estamos aquí en Agroferias Campesinas. Mi nombre es Nancy Cóndor, de Agroindustrias Cóndor Andino, de Junín. Bueno, nosotros transformamos al tokosh. El tokosh es de la variedad de la papa walash.
Ajá.
La papa walash, ¿no? En el Perú tenemos más de 3.500 variedades y la walash pues es oriundo de Huánuco, y esto es más natural para poder hacer el tokosh porque tiene más antibiótico natural. Solamente se ha puesto en los pozos durante 8 meses con piedra.
Pozos de agua,
Sí,
con piedra.
y viene un riachuelo de los cerros y pues eso es en ambos, Huancán, ¿no? De la comunidad campesina de Huancán. Entonces se hace el tokosh y una vez de maceración pues se obtiene el producto y luego se deshidrata.
Ya.
Acá ya lo hemos deshidratado. Una vez deshidratado se muele y acá está el molido en harina. Y esto es bien fácil de consumir. Una
Ya.
cucharada sopera, disuelves en medio plato o media taza de agua hirviendo. En 1 minuto te sale tu mazamorra. Puedes
Ya.
agregar panela o miel al gusto y ya lo consumes, ¿no? Es excelente para la
Y
gastritis.
ya no tiene el olor que tiene
Claro.
normalmente.
El olor, cuando era fresco, es el olor muy fuerte porque llega una fermentación.
Ajá.
Pero ya cuando se deshidrata, el olor ya es menos. Se va el 70% de olor. Lo podríamos decir tokosh sin olor, ¿no? Claro, tiene un poco, pero lo que más obtenemos acá, el tokosh, al secarse obtenemos un antibiótico más concentrado,
Ya.
más fuerte. En los años de trabajo que nosotros tenemos, que la harina es más rápido te cura la gastritis. ¿Por
Ya.
qué? Porque ya lo utilizas. Y de esta harina nosotros hemos elaborado la bebida de tokosh
Ajá.
con stevia. Pero acá lo hemos fortalecido también, como allá tenemos la incamuña en las alturas, para darle un sabor todavía más alegre y la gente contenta lo consume, esta bebida de tokosh para los que no quisieran tomar la harina porque todavía preparar.
Ajá.
Esto se sirve en la tercera parte del vaso en ayunas y en la noche y lo puede tomar fácilmente.
We are so glad to have you live. Paola, we just watched your video. We were talking about the variety of products that are there. Tell us a little bit more. You were telling me before that this market in particular is very special or is different from a lot of the other markets in Peru. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, this market is the consequence of, there was a huge fair here called Mistura that happened during 10 years. And in that fair, there was the big market. It was called the big market, where all the farmers from all places from Peru arrived to show their produce in the capital, no, in Lima, because where the distance here are very long, as you may know. So Mistura closed after 10 years, and this little market was an initiative first of Mistura and was put in a very transit street in one of the residential districts of Lima. So it was going on every Saturday and Sunday, and people went there to buy more organic things and more like natural stuff, and things were sold from the producers directly. No, it was like a farmer market, like a normal one, no. But then with the pandemic, then they independent make like kind of like organization, and then form an association, Agroferias Campesinas, and since 4 years they are working now by themselves. And with the pandemia, everything was shut down here, and they reopened in this place, which is an amazing building, actually built like hundreds of years ago, and it's where a place that alberga, I don't know how to say it, like keep childs, that have no home, but it's a huge building, and there are different parts in the building that are not used, that are for rent or for special events, and it's near the sea, as you can see. So it's very magical because all the farmers are very well located in a different area. And as you go, you can feel the breeze of the sea, and you can farm, buy to the farmers and talk to them. I went very early in the morning, that's why it's kind of empty. But if you arrive like at 10 or 10:30, it's going to be crowded, no? With all the protocols and stuff, but crowded.
Thank you. And we are just out of time, but I just want to, I'm going to give a last 30 seconds. Who are the usual buyers at the market? Is it sort of local people? Is it regular people? Is it restaurants or chefs? Who's coming to that market?
Actually, there are local people, a lot of local people that they took the market as their own. Also from other districts. For example, I don't know if you live around, you can go, but I go and I live like 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers away. So, and I know other people that live at 5 kilometers away and goes every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because there are 3 days of the week now, like attending. And also very foreign people that are looking for more like natural produce and more things that are not sold in supermarkets, and they know that they are not ultra procesados, like with chemicals and stuff. So that's the guarantee you have there. You're going to find like the real stuff.
So it's very natural market, straight from the producers, no alterations, exactly. Kind of really authentic products. That is amazing. Exactly. Paola, I'm so sorry. We're out of time now. We wish we could spend more time with you and hear more about all of the amazing things happening in Lima, but I know you've got a flight to catch also. So thank you for taking the time to join us. We're going to give you a round of applause from this side. Thank you, Paola.
Thank you for inviting me.
And now we're going to be going to breakout sessions out here, actually our first round of breakout sessions. Thanks to our sponsors at Gold and Above who helped make all of these breakout sessions possible. Also in response to attendee feedback and also in the interest of sustainability, we again have not printed the recipes, but rather they're attached to those seminars in the app. So as you go through, and especially in the kitchen workshops, you can be following along with the recipe in your app. If you do want a printed copy, if you do want a printed copy, we do have some available. Just to ask one of the CIA staff who's in the workshop, but otherwise, again, you can follow that in the app. If you're not sure what seminar or breakout you signed up for, if you look on the back, I'm not wearing my badge, if you look on the back of your badge, it's listed there. And if you don't see it there, or if you want to make changes, you can go into the app, go to the agenda section and click on the registered button to see what sessions you've got or if you want to add into a session. And if you have questions about any of that, you can stop by the hospitality desk in the front in the atrium, and one of our staff members can help you. So now we're going to be going to the breakouts, and I'm going to give you some directions in case you're not familiar with the room. So if you are in the Ecolab Theater, that's actually right here, so you can stay here, although we've got about 10 minutes, so if you wanted to grab some coffee or anything, feel free to do that, and then you are going to be here. The NVVT, or Napa Valley Vintners Theater, is the small theater that's on the far side of the building. So back where we had breakfast and the coffee station, that's where Napa Valley Vintners Theater is. The PDR, or private dining room, is right off of the restaurant. So as you go out here, it's right next to the store, just past the store on your right, as well as the Grove Outdoor Kitchen is outdoors in front of the building by the restaurant. The Woodstone Outdoor Kitchen is in the back by the amphitheater, is where the Woodstone Outdoor Kitchen is. And then the Chuck Williams Culinary Arts Museum is upstairs, the beautiful museum upstairs where we had the marketplace. I know I went over that quickly, so if you don't remember where to go or you're trying to find where to go, you can also, again, stop one of the CIM members out there. Breakout sessions start at 9:15, so go and enjoy.